Zoom here.
You should be on original. Are you sharing sound for some reason?
I don't know.
Well, I'm playing the piano.
No, but you're not feeding it straight through, so you'll be all right. You're just using the microphone anyway, so you're fine.
Fine, thanks.
Okay.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome to our Kabbalat Torah, Kabbalat Shabbat service, FPS. You're all very welcome, whether you're here on Zoom with us or if you're watching on Facebook or on YouTube. We are doing service number 1 on page 71. Paul is going to light the candles a little bit later, but we are going to start with a song to welcome Shabbat, and it's Shirul Adonai from Psalm 96, page 71 in our Siddur. Shirul Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shirul Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shirul Adonai, Baruch Shemo, Basru Miyom Leyom, Yeshuato, Zakru Vagoyim Kevodo, Bechol Ha'amim Niflotav, Ki Gadol Adonai, Yimul Al Me'od, Norahu, Al Kol Elohim, Nai Nai Nai, Ki Kol Elohim Ha'amim Elilim, Va'adonai Shamayim Asa, Hod Ve'ada, Lefanav Oz Ve'tiferet, Be'mikdasho Havul Adonai, Mishpachot Amim Havul Adonai, Kevod Va'oz Havul Adonai, Kevod Shemo Havul Adonai, Kevod Shemo Nai Nai Nai, Ishtachavu Adonai Behadra Kodesh, Chilu Mipanav Kol Haaretz, Imru Vagoyim Adonai Malach, Aftikon Tevel Ba'atimot, Yadin Amim B'mesharim, Yismeru Hashamayim V'tagel Haaretz, Yirom Hayam U'melo, Ya'aleh Sadai, V'chol asher bo, Nai Nai Nai, Az yiranenu kol hatzeyah lifnei Adonai, Giva lishpot, ha'aretz yishpot, Teveh v'tzedek ve'yamin be'emunato, Na 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 na, Na 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 na, Na 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 na.
What's wrong?
Nai 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 nai, nai 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 nai, nai nai nai. And Paul, if you would light the candle.
Sure. Hope everyone would join me, those who have got candles in front of them. In the spirit of our ancient tradition, which unites and sanctifies the house of Israel in all lands and ages, we welcome the Sabbath by kindling these lights.
Unmuted myself. It's on the thing.
Baruch
sound.
atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We praise you, eternal God, sovereign of the universe. You sanctify us by your commandments and enjoin us to kindle the Sabbath lights. Amen.
Amen.
Now, please.
Now we are moving on to Lecha Dodi on page 73. Did you want to say something?
And we're going to do a mashup of 2 different tunes for this. I hope you enjoy it.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat mekabelot, שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לרוב ונלחקים מכוח הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בעורר קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. די 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 לך דודי, די 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 לקראת קלה, די 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 פני שבת, די 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 נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, די 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 לך דודי, די 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 לקראת קלה, די 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 בני שבת, די 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 נקבלה. די 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 לך דודי, די 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 לקראת קלה, די 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 בני שבת, די 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 נקבלה. We turn to page 92 for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai, HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam vaed. We praise you, Eternal One, O God, Sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, whose understanding changes times and seasons, and whose will sets the stars in their courses in the sky. You make day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light. You make day pass and bring on the night, and separate day from night. You rule the hosts of heaven. We praise you, O God, whose word makes evening fall. Ahavat olam, Bet Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah umitzvot, Chukim umishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shavenu, Umenu nasiach bechukecha, ונתפלל בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו, ואורך ימינו, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. אותנו לימדת, ישראל. Now we read the Shema. I think on Zoom it's become pretty traditional that nobody stands, but if you would like to stand in body or in spirit, feel free, and if you want to stay seated, feel free. Shema Yisrael, ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך, בשוכבך ובקומך, וקשחתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt, forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly we accepted your rule, then full of joy we sang together. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder b'kodesh, no tehilot kosef eled, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ad. And it has been said, the Eternal One has delivered Jacob and redeemed us from the hand of one stronger than ourselves. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. Grant, Eternal God, that we may lie down in peace, and let us rise up to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your wise counsel, and for your name's sake be your help. Shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer. A gracious and merciful God, guard our going out and our coming in, that now and always we may have life and peace. We praise you, O God. May your sheltering peace descend on us and all who dwell on earth. Adonai, Sefata Tiftachu, Fiagi Tehilatecha, Eternal God, open up my lips, that my mouth shall declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך על גבורות זמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. You are holy, awesome is your name. We have no God but you. We praise you, Eternal One, the Holy God.
And at the foot of page 99, Yismachu.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. מקדש מקדש שבי שבת. שבת ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. והשביעי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים, אותו קראת השבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. למעשה וראשית שבת, זכר למעשה וראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Eternal God, be gracious to your people Israel, and in your love accept their prayers. May our worship now and always be acceptable in your sight. We praise you, O God, whom alone we worship in reverence. At the bottom of page 100, מודים אנחנו לך, שאתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו לעולם ועד. צור חיינו, מגן ישנו, אתה הוא לדור ודור. נודה לך ונספר תהילתך, על חיינו המסורים בידיך, ועל נשמותינו הפקודות לך, ועל ניסיך שבכל יום עמנו, ועל נפלותיך וטובותיך, שבכל עת ערב הבוקר וצהריים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך הדור, לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך הדור, לכל השלום. שלום רב Baruch Ata Adonai, Oseh HaShalom. And we take now a moment for silent prayer. Oseh Shalom Bimrama, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Israel, Ve'al Kol Bnei Adam. Oseh Shalom Bimrama, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Israel, Ve'al Kol Bnei Adam. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. This week's Torah portion, Mishpatim, is all about laws. Indeed, Mishpatim means laws. But like the Inuit who have 200 words for snow, well, I don't really know if that's true, but anyway, that's what they say. We seem to have many words for laws. Mishpatim is one of them, and it's used to talk about easily understood laws, like, for example, no killing or no stealing. Another type of law, chukim, are not so easily understood by sort of normal human intellect. For example, the law about not mixing milk and meat. It's not easy to see why that makes sense. And lots of liberal Jews, for example, because they are rational, decide that they don't really want to keep these laws because they don't make sense to them, and they're not sure why that rule exists. But for some people, because the law exists, they think even if they don't understand the reason, there must be a reason, and it might, for example, hold a key to our special bond with God. Another type of law, edut, means testimony. For example, the law to keep the festival of Pesach is for the Jewish people to do a testimony that God took us out of Egypt. Without Torah, we wouldn't have thought of establishing that law, but now that we have it, it kind of makes sense. Now, because we're all rational people, or at least most of us, we like to know the reason behind these things, or the purpose. So what is the purpose of all these different laws that we read about in Mishpatim? Well, Rashi says that it's to refine people, that all these rules that we read about are there to civilize the Jewish people. Now, if you've ever stood around the Kiddush table at a bar mitzvah, you'll know that that's pretty necessary. Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, the Baal Shem Tov, explains that our inner personality has two sides. One is our divine soul. It's like a spark of spirituality, or a portion of godliness. And that portion of godliness comes into the world with a special task or a special mission. And the Torah and its mitzvot are there to be an instruction guide on how to fulfill that mission. Now, the other side of our personality is our animal soul. And that's the side of us that wants to live and to eat and to possess. And Rabbi Nachman says that with guidance of Torah, we should try to purify and refine that animal soul that we have. So the Torah joins these two sides of us together, these two dimensions. And the aim is that our normal, the acts of our normal everyday life will show an expression of the divine. So, for example, if we talk about kashrut and that law of separating milk and meat that I mentioned earlier, because it's quite complicated to keep kosher, and we have to think about everything we eat before we eat it in order to make sure that it follows the rules. We have to ask ourselves, is it kosher every time we put anything in our mouth? So Rabbi Nachman says that therefore it will expand to other aspects of our lives, and that we will start asking, is it kosher before we do anything? So is it kosher the way I treat my neighbor? Is it kosher the way I dispose of my rubbish? Or is it kosher the way I speak to my parents? So it kind of civilizes us. Now, the laws of kashrut are laws that are between a person and God. But most of the laws in this parasha are actually between a person and another person. So they are about human relationships. And here as well, the intended effect ends up being deeper and broader than what the initial law says. So, for example, I'm sure most of you will be familiar with when the Torah says that if you see your enemy's ox or donkey being overburdened and struggling, you should not hide away or walk away, but you should help your enemy's ox or donkey. The Torah also says that you have to help your friend's donkey or ox if you see it being overburdened and struggling by the side of the road. So what if you saw your enemy's ox or donkey struggling, and at the very same time you also saw your friend's ox or donkey being overburdened and struggling? If you can only help one of them, which one should you help? Maimonides says you should help your enemy first, because obviously it comes easily to help your friend, but to help your enemy, you have to make real effort and sort of overcome certain base feelings, I guess. So by helping your enemy first, you're curbing your evil inclination. So with the guidance of Torah, by following these rules, even when they don't make complete sense initially, we can transform our own character. And as Rashi puts it, civilize ourselves and perhaps cause a chain reaction of inner transformation that could benefit the whole world eventually and hopefully.
Amen.
And now we turn to page 520 for the Aleinu. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, אשר שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובל מרומים, הוא אלוהינו As we worship before you, O God, we think of those who once shared with us the joys and burdens of life and who are no longer in our midst. The sorrow of bereavement is softened by the bond of love which continues to unite us with our dear ones, and by our cherished memories of them, which we will always carry in our hearts. And this week we remember particularly our dear Rosita Rosenberg, who died earlier this week, and who was a very important and very well-loved figure at liberal Judaism. We also remember Mamie Berg, the mother of Jeannie Stein. Reuben Biggins, the father of Martin Biggins. Brian Joseph, brother of Howard Joseph. Bernard Kempner, father of Jane Greenfield. Charlotte Oppenheimer, aunt of Corinne Oppenheimer. And Marion Rosenbaum, mother of Jackie Fawcett. May all that was good in their lives remain with us as an influence for good. O God, grant consolation to those who are in sorrow and light to those in darkness. Teach us at all times to put our trust in you and to praise your name. And we say Kaddish together. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemel rabba, be'alma tivrach chutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתחומם ויתנשא. ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קדושה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושיחתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה. דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה. וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ועל כל בני אדם, ואמרו אמן. Paul or Josie, do you have any announcements?
I sent you a message, Alex.
Okay.
Can I just say that there is a mistake in the email and Rosh Chodesh is on Monday night and not on Sunday? But everybody who is on the email direct would know that, just in case.
Right.
Yeah.
Go on.
Oh, I'm reading them. Okay. Well, first of all, we'd like to wish Bobby a hearty Mazal Tov. She passed the Bet Din today, and you had your ceremony in the meditation class this morning, and you'll be lighting candles for us next week. So welcome to the fold, Mazal Tov.
Mazal Tov,
there you are.
Bobby.
Yeah, there you are. And I think that's the only one on there, isn't it?
Yeah. Is that it, Josie? Okay. So
We're going to conclude with Adon Olam, to a tune which Paul will know. And if he doesn't, he soon will. And we're on page 525. Here we go.
Adon Olam asher malach בטרם כל יציר נברא ליד נשא בחפצותו אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יראה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להשמידו להגבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחדו עלי וצור ובני בעת צרה והוא ניסי ומענוס לי ומחוסי ביום אקרא ויעדו עבדי רוחי בעת אישן והעירה ואם רוחי תביא
Adonai velo ira.
Shabbat Shalom. I believe that Valerie and Rabbi Frank are doing Kiddush. Is that right?
That's right. We'll be with you in just a second. And thank you, Alex and Franklin, for a lovely service.
Shall people unmute? We usually unmute at this point. Is that we're going to unmute and say Shabbat Shalom or something?
Do you want to wait for Kiddush and then unmute?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
Kiddush on page 564. Yom HaShini Vayechol.
There's something with sound. We're getting connected.
Do you have two devices?
No.
Stanley does. Stanley, please unmute yourself.
I think everyone should mute apart. Frank.
You should be okay now, Frank.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yom HaShishi Vayechulu HaShamayim V'Haaretz V'Kol Shevam Vayechal Elohim V'Yom HaShvi'i Melachto Asher Asa Vayishbot V'Yom HaShvi'i Mikol Melachto Asher Asa Vayevarech Elohim Et Yom HaShvi'i Vayekadesh Oto Ki bo Shabbat Mikol Melachto Ki bo Shabbat Mikol Melachto Asher bara Elohim Asher bara Elohim Lahasod Sabri Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'b'ratzon inchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit. Ihu yom tehila lemikrai kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kibanu v'acharta biotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim b'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'b'ratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
Thank you for coming.
We're unmuted.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.